We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch, so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
You're watching Rogers TV. This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of My River District. I'm Viveca Gravel, River District Coordinator, and I'm here today with a few cast members and the director of Prelude to a Kiss, happening at the Roxy Theatre starting on January 30th, running until February 8th. I have it written down. So we've got our director, Kevin Haxel, cast members Rick Ringer and Paula Mercer. Welcome.
Good morning.
Hello. So we're looking forward to this first theater performance of 2025. Kevin, can you tell us a little bit about the premise of Prelude to a Kiss?
I'd be pleased to. Prelude to a Kiss is a comedy, but it's a romantic comedy with a bit of a mystery and some fantasy thrown in. If I can tell you a little bit about the plot. It involves Rita and Peter, who are almost 30-year-olds living in New York City, 2019. They meet at a party, they fall in love, and then they decide very quickly that they want to get married. Of course, they have to meet the parents first, and sitting to my right are Rita's parents. Uh-huh. Very amusing scene with Rita's parents. Then they get married, but at the wedding, there's an old man that nobody knows, and he asks if he may kiss the bride. And when he does, that's the fantasy part, they switch souls. So the old man's soul goes into the bride's body and vice versa. So the groom goes off to Jamaica for their honeymoon with his bride, whom he says has really changed. And obviously has changed because there's an old man in her body who's concerned about putting on 60 sunscreen and taking the skin off her chicken and not using salt. Completely different person than the one he married. So the mystery is whether or not they're going to have to live the rest of their lives together, the old man with Rita inside his body and Peter, or if he can sort out how to switch them back.
So this is like a very awful Freaky Friday.
Well, it is. Yeah. I wouldn't say very awful Freaky Friday, but you know, it's interesting because as opposed to Freaky Friday, yes, this raises sort of some philosophical questions about if you were old and not well, would you take the opportunity given to you to live another life in a younger body? The interesting thing is, of course, Rita, for her to have affected the transfer of souls, had to want her life to sort of be over. She's very adverse to risk, and you know, what if something happens to us, and how are we going to deal with it? So when she sees the old man, she sees the opportunity to live the rest of his life, having dealt with all the troubles of growing up. And also asks the question, for better or for worse. I mean, this is about as worse as it can get, perhaps. Although you do read on Facebook these days of very sad stories about, you know, a wife who's misfigured terribly in a fire and the husband standing by her. And so it raises the same sort of philosophical questions, as well as entertaining as a comedy and as a romantic story.
Of course. Yeah, I'm not too sure I'd want my body back after having an old man in there.
Yeah.
No, that sounds incredibly interesting, just captivating, I'm sure, for the audience. And just want to hear a little bit from the parents here. How do you deal with a stranger kissing, you know, your daughter on her wedding day? Because I'm not sure I would let that happen.
Good point. Well, and Dad almost says,
I almost put a stop to it.
Okay.
The old man says I could perhaps kiss the bride, and I say, well, but then Rita, my daughter, cuts me off and says, it's okay, Daddy.
Interesting.
And yeah, very interesting. Like Kevin said, it's like there is her desire to, we're not sure exactly why, but her desire to want to take a chance on kissing this stranger.
She's got a thing for older men.
Who just
I get
shows
it.
up at their wedding. Yeah. So it's an incredible premise, and especially the more you work with the plot and the show and the actors and the characters, it's there's a lot of depth to it on many levels. So. And we're kind of the comic relief, Marion and I.
More of the slapstick character.
And in many ways, we also have a couple of very serious scenes, but yeah, we get to be kind of goofy because some of it gets kind of heavy and serious, and as Kevin said, the philosophical questions come to the fore in many places, but so we get to lighten it up a little bit.
That's nice to have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very fortunate to have two very talented and instinctive actors, because they're challenging roles, because when you're given the comic foil type of role, you don't want to make the character one-dimensional.
Right.
Because, as Rick said, there are scenes in the second act involving both mother and father that require sort of reality, require them to deal as real people with a very tough situation. When Rita decides to leave Peter, because Rita, of course, being the old man, wants to get away from the suspicion that Rita isn't Rita. So she asks Mom and Dad to effect a separation, basically, and they have to deal with their daughter's wishes versus a son-in-law that they've grown to quite like. So some serious scenes that they're doing a beautiful job on. I'm very proud of them.
Thank you.
Well, that's lovely to hear.
Yeah.
That makes me want to get my tickets, that's for sure.
Good.
Now, Kevin, how did you come to this? Was Prelude kind of in the plans and you connected to it as a director, or did they have you as a director and you're like, I want to do Prelude?
Now, the way it works at OSLT is there's a play reading committee. And as a director, if you have a show you would like to do, you submit it to the committee and you go and you pitch it, basically. And then the committee must decide on the slate for the following season. What works best, either 3 or 4 shows, and we typically do 1 musical and then either 2 or 3 what you call straight plays. And so I was asked to submit a play because I've directed 4 other shows for OSLT. So I was asked to submit a play, and I went to my library and I pulled out all the plays, and I actually was given this script back when it was first written in 1986. And I don't think I fully appreciated it back then, because I think the older you get, the more you appreciate, as Rick says, because of the complexities of it. And so when I reread it, I said, I want to do this, because I loved the nature of the play, but I also loved the challenge. The challenge, it takes place 8 different settings. From the opening in a party scene, to obviously meeting the parents in their backyard, to the wedding, to Jamaica, to the bar she works in. And so as a director, I said, well, how am I going to mount this on a stage when you've got to create these different settings? So I told the play reading committee, oh, it'll be easy because we don't need a box set. We're just going to use some stairs and platforms. Well, and then Jed Phillips, who's our set designer and lead builder, said, well, I'm going to use New York skyline cutouts to establish that we're in New York, and let's move everything around for each. Well, what was supposed to be simple is incredibly complex in terms of the set changes. And what I decided is, look, I have 10 actors in the show. 2 of them, Rita and Peter, really are too involved in the scenes to move sets, but all the other 8, including the 2 beside me, have a second script. They have the what do we do with each scene change, moving these steps, moving the bar tables, moving. So there's going to be a second show. The second show are the scene changes.
It's a choreography of chaos at the moment.
Right.
At the moment.
Don't make noise.
At the moment,
Don't make noise.
We're just getting used to.
And don't make noise.
Don't make noise. You're not here. No large movements.
Well, exactly, because at least 3 of the scene changes take place while a scene is going on what we call the bump out. We have a typical proscenium stage, but we have an addition over at Audience Right that we can actually do some scenes on. So as not to make it too slow for the audience, we try and do some of the scene changes while another scene is playing out.
I have always been so floored by the set design and the construction that takes place in that space, because I've been backstage. It's not huge.
No.
And the complexities of having one piece of furniture flip up and become something and then turn around and it's something else and add a door to it, now it's this, and all those goodness, that's creative.
It is. You know, and I'm glad you acknowledge that, because it's not just wonderful actors or an okay director that makes a show work. It is the creative minds behind set design and build. Sound and music is incredibly important. Costumes.
Lighting.
Lighting. Oh, lighting is huge. In fact, the lighting team was in there last night, and they're going to be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So there's 4 nights just to set the lights.
Wow.
And then we spend all day Saturday before the opening on the following Thursday doing what's called a cue to cue. So it'll be at least 6 hours of setting the levels of the lights, and also which comes first, sound or light? Do they come together? How quickly do you bring light up? How quickly do you bring it down? All these decisions will be made. Fortunately, without the actors. We give the actors the day off, and we'll just do it with some poor soul standing on stage where the actor will be.
It's you, isn't it?
No, I'm in the audience going, no, that's not how I see it.
You'll find somebody to do it.
Oh, I'll find somebody. That's probably going to be my wife. Long suffering.
Buy her some flowers and some chocolate or something, whatever she likes. And
Yes, my wife is the producer.
Oh, okay.
Her job is, in a sense, even bigger than mine, because she's got to find those talented people you talked about and convince them to spend their time on the show.
But I've always found it so fascinating how, you know, you can turn off the lights at the back of the stage and everything is changing back there, but the light is now over here or at the front of the stage. And while you can still see it if you're looking for it, it's almost as though it's not there.
Right.
And so I think it's just really wonderful, and especially when you have such captivating actors and you're watching them on the stage. Just about anything could happen back there, but by just lowering the lights a little bit, it allows for, you know, this complete separation between the story and the set.
It's a matter of focus. And as a director, you do the same thing. You say, we have to have the focus at this moment on, for example, Mom and Rita as they're crossing to sit down. So I had asked Dad, don't move until they reach the chairs. So find a way to occupy yourself in thought before you shuffle over to join them. And the reason for that is because if they're halfway there and then Dad starts to move, the audience could say, oh, what's Dad going to do? And then miss the moment between Mom and Rita. So it's, you have to take it from the perspective of what is the audience going to be looking at, just as you've shown me you are as an audience member looking.
Well, that's fantastic. And we've already run out on our first half of the show.
And poor Paula hasn't said anything, so let's start the second half.
I've smiled and...
You did. It'll be the life of Paula.
Wonderful.
She does have a voice.
We're talking about these background actions and things,
Yes,
right? Very
I'm
important.
Be very quiet.
So when we come back, we will speak with Paula. We'll see you soon.
This is a perfectly healthy child. What's unhealthy are birth alerts, a racist practice that may stop this Indigenous mother from going home with her newborn. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare. This is a brain in urgent need of mental health care. But because 3 out of every 4 Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, she may not get the help she needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Welcome back to My River District. I'm sitting down today with two cast members of Prelude to a Kiss and the director, Kevin Haskell. Haxel. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I get it all the time.
Okay. Well, I mean, my name is Viveca, so nobody ever says that correctly. And I apologize for that. Anyways, we were sitting here and we said this time we were going to speak with Paula. Paula, we're going to put you on the spot. Tell us everything.
Oh, well, I don't know where to start.
Well,
yes.
We were talking about the importance of having community and people involved to make these plays happen,
Absolutely.
even talking about the bar that's featured at the Roxy and how that comes into play. And apparently, you're an exceptional choreographer.
Well, that's some people might say. I don't know.
She's an award-winning choreographer.
Award-winning.
Western Ontario Drama League winner. How many times? I'm
Well,
not sure.
just twice.
Just twice. Well,
yes,
yeah.
for the last shows that we did, Beauty and the Beast and Something Rotten. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, volunteerism, that's what community theater is all about. Virtually everyone is a volunteer, gives countless hours to everything from ushering to building the set, to directing, to choreographing, to serving drinks before and after shows or during shows. And that is a critical part of it. We can't do it without our volunteers.
Right. So the Owen Sound Little Theatre, the Roxy Theatre, is looking for volunteers constantly.
Always. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be on stage.
Absolutely not, right.
I think that's a big fear of people when they come into it. Oh, I'm not an actor. I can't be on stage. But can you pour drinks?
Yes.
But can you move something? Can you paint something?
That's right.
Everybody has their own talents
Yeah.
that they can bring to
Can
it.
you do props?
Yeah.
You know, bringing in plastic glasses or whatever, doing that, directing people off stage to do their job, makeup, hair. It is
There's
incredible.
something just about for everybody.
Yeah.
Front of house is a very easy area to get involved in because you just basically have to usher. And you get to see the shows.
Yes.
And you get a very basic training and whatnot.
And just go.
So it's a great way to get involved with Owen Sound Little Theatre, for sure.
And lots of
the
people
Roxy.
then from there,
Right.
oh, I've done front of house, maybe I'd like to try this or that, and will someone help me? We have mentors, and you know, Kevin's been a mentor as a director, and everything is, we do a little bit of training for the bar with Smart Serve. Everybody has to have Smart Serve. And you just sign up and fit in wherever you feel comfortable.
That's amazing.
That's what it
And
is.
then learn the ropes and
Yeah.
keep
And
moving
then-
around.
And have fun. That's the whole point of doing
It
this.
is,
Yes.
yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I've done 5 shows. I have not had as much fun as I've had with this cast and crew
Okay.
that I can remember.
You're just saying that.
No, I'm not. I'm not
Yeah.
just saying
You're
it.
going to get some nasty emails from everybody else.
I
Yeah.
know, indeed. But what about Noises Off? What about Born Yesterday?
yeah.
You know? No, they've been really, really receptive, and we've had a few laughs.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yes,
that's
yeah.
important.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
important. We're not doing this for money
Right.
No.
or fame. We're doing it to have fun.
Yeah.
To feed the creative beast that's inside us, or at least those that have that need to
Absolutely.
be creative in this fashion.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I have to say, OSLT is a phenomenal group.
Oh, yes.
And I'm so happy that I live in the area because of OSLT. There are very few, I can't think of another one in the GTA, a theater group that owns its own facility, that
Oh,
owns its
absolutely.
own building,
Yep.
and therefore can use it and rehearse in it and not be under the pressure of moving into a rented space to put up a show. And from what I understand, we've got over 200 members. You know, some really, really active, some not active, but just being a theater goer is
And people come from all over. They hear a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
When we did Something Rotten, like people were coming up from way out of town. They kind of saw it on Facebook. And when they got here, it was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
The Roxy Theatre has that
Community
name,
theater.
has
It
that
does.
pull.
It does.
We have
And
a
it's incredible
reputation.
that,
Yes.
you know, this little
Quality.
town has this incredible high-end theater with high-end, wonderful professional performances by volunteers.
By volunteers, exactly.
Yes.
And it's not, I mean, to be an actor in an OSLT production, it's a time commitment.
Oh,
It is a lot of
Huge
work.
It is,
time
yes.
commitment.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the guide for a director is rehearse 1 hour for every minute of a show. So if your show is 2 hours long, ours isn't. Ours is a relatively short show. It runs probably about 95 minutes. But for 2 hours, that means you've got to do 120 hours of rehearsal. Our show, we just finished our 35th rehearsal. Rehearsals are 3 hours each.
Okay.
So we've gone over 100 hours of rehearsal. Now, not every actor is at every rehearsal.
Right.
But even if you have a small role, yes, it's a commitment. And it's a commitment that everybody expects you to meet, to honor.
And it's double that, not only rehearsing, but then what you have to do to prepare
Exactly.
for that.
Line memorization.
Sometimes I'm working 40 hours a week, choreographing something.
Sure, yes.
And then you've got all the planning, and Kevin's done an amazing job just
And our backstage crew has to do
Organizing.
the same thing.
Thank
Stage
you.
manager, assistant stage manager,
Yeah.
props.
Right.
They all have to put in the time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we put on this wonderful performance.
But we do it because we love it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No matter what part
Yeah.
you're doing,
Yeah.
which part of the machine you are, you love it because you do it because you love it.
Yeah.
I personally love being stage manager or assistant stage manager because you're involved in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just move the play along. You're handing things off and you're
Yeah.
checking things off and you're doing, it's a really fun
You
job.
must be an organizer.
And
No.
and trying to get actors in places. And, yeah.
Well, once the show opens, it's the stage manager's
It is.
show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The director is not to give notes to the actors anymore.
Okay.
In professional theater, the director doesn't even come after opening night. He moves on to direct the next show.
Oh, wow.
hopefully. Yes.
I didn't know
yes.
that.
Now we have a tradition at OSLT that the directors do come to the shows because we care for our children and want to say to them, good show.
Yes.
And you got to make sure that each show you kind of react the same positive way, because if you're not quite as enthusiastic, then I know the actor's thinking, oh, I wasn't as good as I was last night. What am I doing wrong? Tell me.
Right.
So I've stopped going up at intermission at shows because I don't want to let anybody down in
Right.
terms of their expectation for a huge compliment. So I leave it till after the show, and it's always positive. If you have something negative, you go to the stage manager because it's her show.
You can always see the directors pacing around the lobby of the Roxy before
Yeah.
the show. How are you doing? Oh, good.
Oh, yes, we're
Everything's good."
fine.
That's fine. Everything's fine.
Like waiting for the birth of a child.
Well, do you hand out cigars at the end of it?
I certainly hand out cards, which I try to personalize, because everybody is unique in terms of what they have brought to the show, and it's nice to reflect in the cards on certain moments you might have had in rehearsal, that sort of thing. So
They also don't let you smoke inside, so cigars are off the
the
table.
cigars are off the table.
Chocolate's okay,
No.
though.
Chocolate cigars.
I'd be down for that. Okay, so we've got a couple more minutes. I just want to hit on all of the specifics. So Prelude to a Kiss, it opens January 30th. It runs until February 8th. You've got a list of notes here too. Is there any specifics?
Well, I want to mention, because this is something relatively new, we do have a Sunday matinee now. So on February the 2nd at 2 p.m., there is a show. And I don't know about the rest of you, I really like going to matinees because then you have the rest of the day to sort of reflect on what you've seen. So, yes, February 1st, January 30th to February 1st. February 5th to 8th, one matinee, February 2nd at 2. Otherwise, the show starts at 7:30. And you can get tickets at roxytheatre.ca or call 519-371-2833.
We'll just take that sound bite, and now it's a commercial for it.
Thank you.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, so a couple more minutes left. I do want to ask you all my regular question that I ask the guests. Why do you, as locals, love it here? And I understand that not everybody has been a born and bred local, but you're all within the area now, so we're just accepting you as our locals. So let's start with you, Paula.
Well, I am an Owen Sounder, born and raised, left, planning to never come back. But I came back for a job, and then I got involved in this theater. I live downtown. I love working, well, not working, but working at theater. I love living down there. Could go everywhere. I love the whole area. It's great, you know.
Wonderful.
I'm a relative newcomer. Been 10 years in the Owen Sound area, and did it for love and for work. But I've kind of been all over, everywhere from Toronto to Peterborough to Wasaga Beach, and it's funny because I've kind of moved away from large city living, 20 years or so in Toronto and the GTA, to smaller markets. And Owen Sound's the smallest place where I've lived, and it's just so nice to be able to, first of all, know where you're going, not have to deal with traffic other than on 10th Street once in a while. And it just, and Kevin mentioned before when we were talking off camera about the air is so clean.
Oh, you
and
stole my airline.
Yeah. Sorry. And just, you know, there's such a picturesque qualities to so much of Owen Sound, so many great outdoor activities you can participate in, and okay, your turn.
My turn. All right. Other than the fact that every time I go to the GTA area, I cannot wait to get back and breathe clean air. The fact is, we not only have theater, but we have music here, art. We have artists that can afford to live here. So you see a lot of locally produced art, books, literature, photography. I mean, some of the photography I see online, it's just, it blows your mind. So it feeds the soul to live here.
Oh, I love that.
That's a good.
I'm going to make a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. And thank you all so much for being part of the community and part of the theater community, and just, you know, keep turning out those high quality shows that the Owen Sound Little Theatre does at the Roxy. I recently saw The Prom, which was a very young cast and so exceptional. And that's where one of my comments came from about the set design. Because the one tower was about, I don't know, 8 different things.
And I think that show was a perfect example of renewing the lifeblood of Owen Sound Little Theatre by getting the younger cast members involved. And one of them is one of our assistant stage managers for our show, Kara. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So they, you know, whether they have theater or performing arts in their future in terms of their education and whatever, they or not. It's just great to have young people involved and, like I said, renew the lifeblood of the company.
Affects their life.
Yeah.
Give Kara a hard time for me, please.
Okay.
I know her. And I'm so glad that she is in theater and that this has given such a great opportunity. I want to thank you all so much. Kevin, the director, Rick and Paula, cast members of Prelude to a Kiss, again, opening January 30th, running until February 8th. You did outline the specific days. Social media, do we know the social media handles for the Roxy?
RoxyTheater.ca.
And that's their social media handle?
Oh, no, just the Roxy Theater.
Roxy Theater.
Yeah, just the Roxy Theater on Facebook.
We'll put it at the bottom of the page
and Instagram.
anyways.
Yep.
Roxy Theater, Owen Sound for Insta. I know that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming in. Again, it was wonderful. Get your tickets now. Make sure you're part of the Owen Sound Little Theatre scene. And if you can, get involved. We'll see you next time.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Was that 4 or 5? He's lost count and still thinks he can drive. Do you think he knows that when he is caught and charged with impaired driving, he'll lose his license and a lot more? If he gets in his car, he'll face costs exceeding $20,000. Does he realize he could have a criminal record for his choice to drive? And it could be much worse if he crashes. I wonder what he'll be thinking tomorrow.
Have a Holden one at 15.
Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive sober.
These days at your local Legion, we're marching to the beat of a different drum. on a mission to support veterans, to have fun, and to welcome everyone to our ranks. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Legion. And as a member, you'll join thousands of others serving our veterans, our communities, and our country. Oh yeah, and our Member Perks program will save you thousands on shopping, dining, products, and services across the country. Join us at legion.ca.
This is Rogers